It's mamish a gewaltige schus to be here. Pasha just landed from Eretz Yisrael, come straight here. We're going to get straight into the speech that I want to discuss. There he was an old man. He had lived a wonderful life, many, many years down in this world. And it came time to go and give din v'cheshbon in Shamayim, in front of the Melech Malchei Amlochim, in front of the Beis Din Shalmala. And he's waiting in line. He's an elderly man. He's waiting in line to wait his turn to get to his time to be judged. And all of a sudden, they bring a younger man who had unfortunately passed away much earlier. And they bring him in and they skip the queue, skip the line all the way through. And he's like, chutzpah, what do you mean? Where's the derech eretz? I'm an elderly person. I died an old man. I should have derech eretz. He should have derech eretz. He shouldn't just squish in the line. What is this? And they said to him, no, that's not how it works over here. In Shamayim, it doesn't go by how many years you lived. It goes by what you did during those years. What you produced during the time that you had in this world. Today, Be'ez Hashem, it's an amazing Yom HaChizuk for me, to see how many people are interested in trying to work on themselves, to grow, to get more connected, to get closer to the Rabbeinu Shel Olam, and ultimately to produce in this world what they were sent down to do. Rav Elia Lopian, famous mashkiach, once said, what's pshat in this generation? What's going on in this generation? Where are we holding? What's happening? And he said an amazing mashal. He said, sometimes you have a wolf. A wolf is a very powerful, strong animal. And a wolf sometimes likes to go and get something to eat, and it takes a little shepsela, a little sheep, and it tries to chop the shepsela, try to kill it, to eat it. He needs to eat something. So he takes the shepsela, he takes the sheep, and the sheep is fighting for his life backwards and forwards. And there's a fight between the fox and the sheep, until eventually it goes silent, and there's no fight anymore. And all you hear is silence. Why? Because the shepsela has been placed by the wolf in a death lock. That means that any move the sheep makes, it's going to die. Because the wolf has it in such a grip that it won't be able to turn any direction. So there's silence. Says Rav Elia Lopian, we're living in a generation where there's silence, but the Satan, the Yetzer Hara, has us on such a grip that he's chapped us, and we can barely move, we can barely go in any direction. But no, we have to scream. Today is that screaming. Today is that screaming that we're going to say to the Rabbeinu Shel Olam, no, we don't want to do this. We want to be better, we want to be higher, we want to be more connected. As we'll explain. So there may be people here who say, well, it's not really Nageya to me. I don't get involved in these things. I don't have these this technology, whether it's a smartphone, whether it's internet, whether it's computers, whatever it may be, I don't have it. So it's not Nageya to me. What do I need to hear this for? So I'll tell you. Reb Shalom Shadron, famous Maggid, traveled the world giving chizuk. And he comes to Borough Park. Now, if you know America, Borough Park is a pretty frum place. And he gets up and he gives a drasha about what? Shabbos Kodesh. He said to him after his Rebbe, giving a drasha about Shabbos Kodesh. We keep Shabbos, Baruch Hashem. We're from a Yidden, we're Ehrlich Yidden. We keep Shabbos. What are you giving a drasha about Shabbos for? So he said, I want to tell you a mashal. Imagine if there's chas v'shalom a fire. And there's a fire in one home. When the people come to put out and extinguish the fire, did they only spray the area where the fire is? No. They spray all the surrounding areas as well, because things can spread. So even though there's a possibility that Baruch Hashem, you don't have this Yetzer Hara at this moment of time, but who knows when the Yetzer Hara will try to chap anyone. And then we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared with our weapons, with our understanding, with our chizuk, to be able to fight the Yetzer Hara in every situation that we're put in. I don't know how many people have been to America. I go to America, I travel a lot. I travel all over the world. I've been to South Africa, I've been to Egypt, I've been to Baruch Hashem all over the world, and I see America as the place of Gashmias. In other words, if you want real Gashmis, you go to America, right? One of the boys took me once to an ice cream store. Now, it's not just, again, Baruch Hashem, you guys have Kleinblatt, it's Gavaldik. But the Maisa in America, they have an ice cream store with an ice cream van in the store with flavors coming out of your nose, every type of flavor, every type of toppings and chocolates and zachar. I couldn't believe it. They invest so much time, they have a building just for an ice cream store. That's America, Baruch Hashem, Gashmis, okay. So, can you imagine? You go into such a store, you go into such a shop, and you're deciding you're having double-layered chocolate with vanillas and strawberries and blueberries and this topping and this type of thing, and it's piling up over there. You turn to your friend that you came with and you say, okay, what would you like? What are you going to take? I'll take vanilla, please. Well, come on, seriously? You can have whatever you want. It's beautiful, it tastes so geschmack, it looks so nice. What are you taking vanilla for? So he says, well, I don't know, I only know vanilla. I've never tasted anything else, and therefore vanilla is good, I like it. That's what I'm going to have. I don't need to have anything else. I think it's a wonderful idea to understand life. You know, sometimes we only see life in the way that we understand it, in the way that we personally experience it, without realizing what's out there. Not necessarily what we have, but what we don't have. In other words, if we have a life that we're connected to the outside world, whether through internet, whether through a smartphone, whatever it may be. So we look at that life and we say, well, that's what we know, that's what we're used to, it looks good, it sounds good, it's great, it's going good. You're just taking vanilla in a beautiful ice cream store. You don't realize what's out there if you would only taste the other flavors. If you would taste the flavor of life when you're not connected to the outside world and technology at large. And we'll speak a little bit about that also. Can you imagine what that is? Can you imagine what a life that may be? But often we don't even realize it because we've only tasted vanilla. So if you only tasted vanilla, you only know what vanilla is. But that's a shame because life is a different life. You know, the average person, they say the average person looks at his phone about 160 times a day. 160 times a day. Okay, that's approximately about every 6 minutes, right? And I'm sure you've seen people with phones every minute taking it out, checking, not that there's anything to check, but just in case they feel themselves to be so important that people are sending them messages that they need to answer at this moment of time. Every 6 minutes, they're looking at their phone. It's mind-boggling. You know, if you make the cheshbon, you make the maths, it's actually interesting. If a person reaches approximately the age of 90 years old and he looks back at his life, so he sees that about a third of his life he spent sleeping, and about a third of his life he spent with a relationship with a machine. That's what it is. A third of your life? You look back at your life, you're like, seriously? A third of my life I spent connected to a piece of metal, to a machine, to a screen? That's really what I wanted to spend my life? Is that really what I'm here for? Is that the purpose? So the question is, why do we need to do this? What's the purpose of today? What's the purpose of your school that I've seen in the emails and I've seen in the contracts and I've seen the most amazing activities that I've seen outside that you're zoicha to be a part of? It's amazing. The effort, the time and the money that they've put in for this event is amazing. But so why are they doing this? For what? Who needs this? What's the purpose of it? Are we really going to gain anything from it? So the truth is, you know, I get where everyone's coming from. Again, I don't know where everyone specifically, but you know, as a general, I get it. You know, I grew up also, I had screens in my house. We watched things, you know, we grew up that way. I had the yeshiva in Yerushalayim for beautiful, incredible, beautiful boys, beautiful neshamas. And many of them struggle with these issues as well. And over the years, hearing more and more of the struggles that people have in our generation, emails that come in from around the world, literally, from all directions of life, from the most Hasidish that you can imagine to the most yeshivish, Litvish, off the derech, whatever you want to call them. I've seen them all, I've heard them all, I see what's going on. And I can tell you 100% that there is a real purpose to today's event and today's activity that's going to help you. Not in the next world, that's something else, but in this world. That means you have an opportunity today, if you wish, to change your future. You have an opportunity today to be able to carve out, to form a totally different future than what you may have had if you wouldn't be here today at this event. And it's such an amazing thing because we often get so connected, we get so involved in what we see. Just take a simple idea, take a movie, right? So again, I don't know how many people have watched, haven't watched, do want to watch, don't want to watch, pretend that they never watched, say that they never watched, whatever it is. But you get the idea. Hollywood is made up of billions and billions of dollars to just do one thing, to fake you into believing that it's true. That's what the whole thing is. The whole Hollywood is that way. It's to make you believe, wow, that's amazing. And the problem is we get so involved in everything when we watch something that we become a part of it. And it gives us values, subconsciously, by the way. People don't even realize this. Subconsciously, you've got these values. I see this years and years later when people get married and they'll ask questions and they'll say things and I'll be like, how do you know this? Why are you asking this? Where are you coming from? And the answer is very simple. You're coming from Hollywood. Because after all, if that's all that went inside the brain, and often that goes in very deeply, so it affects everything. You don't even realize it. It affects who we marry. It affects what we do when we are married. It affects how we bring up our children, what type of home we have. It goes on and on and on and on. The type of things that it affects is unbelievable. And subconsciously, all it's doing is trying to show you that you have an unhappy life unless you do this. By the way, that's what advertising is, right? Let's say, okay, I don't watch movies. I go on the internet, I do shopping, online shopping, all of these things. What's wrong with that? Come on, get with the times, No. You know what advertising is? And again, advertising is a company that spend millions upon millions of dollars on basically one idea. You are unhappy until you have this. Right? Even a simple idea. Take a Coca-Cola. It's freezing cold. It's boiling hot outside. And you see this advertising of this freezing bottle of Coca-Cola. Right? It's got like, it's all moisture coming down. There's ice there. All of a sudden you get thirsty, right? I need a Coca-Cola. Well, I didn't need one 2 minutes ago, but now I need a Coca-Cola. And the latest phone just came in. Well, one second, I just bought a new phone about 20 minutes ago, but they just came out with another one, and now I'm going to be unhappy until I have the new one. That's what advertising is. That's what the internet is. That's what they're doing to you, is they're trying to suck you in. And by the way, there are people that have spoken about this from within the companies, from social media, and all different types of social media, whether it's WhatsApp and Twitter, and whether it's all sorts of things without going into all the various names that we have. But at the end of the day, it's one purpose. It's to suck you in and keep you there for as long as possible. You should know, by the way, and I know this for a fact, that many of the people that are involved in social media, in other words, involved in, making it, developing it, advertising it, all these things, they themselves don't have it. Did you know that? They themselves don't have it because they know how dangerous it is. They know what it does to people's lives. They don't want it. They're great at giving it to everybody else. They'll ruin everybody else's life, but their life, it's not coming into my house, because they understand. And we're talking about Goyim, by the way. We're talking about Goyim. They understand the dangers. They understand what this is. Rabbi said we're living in a crazy world. We're living in a world, I don't have to tell you. I'm sure you know what's going on in the world is crazy. People, the walls of Kedusha that Yidden used to have surrounding them are crumbling in front of our eyes. We're watching them crumble down. That it used to be in the shtetl. However much of a shtetl Antwerp is, it's still nowhere near the shtetl what it used to be like in Poland, pre the war, where the Yidden was so, Rabbi Shimshon Pincus brings this down, that the Yidden was so involved in themselves, they were so ba'achtos, they were so connected to the Rabbeinu Shalom, they had no shaykhs to the Goyim, there was no connection. Of course there came a time when that happened, and that's where everything started to fall down. But that's the Kedusha. That's what a Yid is. That's what we are. And that's what we're trying to rebuild over here. And at the end of the day, it may be a difficult journey to take. And sometimes it is. We're involved. We have it already. We want it already. All these things. But it's a difficult journey, but it's a worthwhile journey. Because it's a journey that if you decide today to take on this journey, it's a journey that's going to take you in a different direction. And a whole better direction. To the correct destination. And that's what today is all about. And the Rabbeinu Shalom sees the efforts that we put in. He sees the efforts, he understands what we're trying to do. And we have an opportunity. You know, it's a few days before Rosh Hashanah. A few days before Rosh Hashanah, we're going to stand in Shul on the Yom Hadin and beg for the Rebbeinu Shalom to give us Zocheinu L'chaim. Give us life. Remember us for life. We want life. We want a good life. We want a great year, everything. Rabbeinu Yonah says in Shari Tshuva an amazing mashal. He says, imagine you have a guy in prison and there's a whole bunch of people in prison and they manage, for whatever reason, they manage to smash a hole through the wall and everyone starts running out of the prison except for one guy. He's still sitting on the chair inside the prison. The prison ward comes in and says, what are you, a shaita? Are you crazy? Rabbeinu Yonah says this. You have an opportunity to leave and you didn't leave? What's the matter with you? Says Rabbeinu Yonah, it's the same thing with us. The Rebbeinu Shalom gives us so many opportunities to do tshuva, so many opportunities to become closer to Him. Do we not take those opportunities? Today is one of those opportunities. Today is a time and an opportunity to get closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom, to be able to connect to the Rebbeinu Shalom and stop all of the things that we are so much connected to. You know, social media is killing people. It's killing marriages. It's killing relationships between children and their parents. I've seen this with my own eyes. I had a conversation with someone 2 days ago about this exact nakuda. He has destroyed his family. Social media, clear cut. I dealt with a couple in Lakewood. Same situation. They met on social media. I know people in different places in the world, Rahman and Itzlan, that committed suicide. Social media. Again and again and again, we're seeing this idea that it's killing people. And we have to wake up. And we have to take the opportunity. And we have to do something about this. But why? Why? It's geschmack. It's very easy to say it, but it's geschmack. It's good to be connected. It's good to know what's going on. So one thing I think we have to appreciate is that Klal Yisrael are a higher madriga of a people. We're just not regular people. We were chosen, hand-picked by the Rebbeinu Shalom, by the Melech Malchei Hamlochim. We say this in Birchas HaTorah every single day. She'bocha bonu mikol ha'amim. The Rebbeinu Shalom chose us. That means He wants us. That means that the Rebbeinu Shalom loves every single one of us greater. Listen to this. Greater. Just imagine. If you have a couple that wait, Rahman Islam, we should never know. We should never know of a couple that wait 20 years to have a child. The pain and the tsar to go through 20 years of waiting to have a child. Can you imagine the child is born finally, Baruch Hashem, a simcha, to have a child? Do they love that child? Do they love that child? Wow. They're going to give that child everything. They're going to give that child all their love, all their time, all their patience, everything they have, because that's their child they waited for. Guess what? The Rebbeinu Shalom loves us more than that.